I'm way smarter than most people are, right?
Yeah.
And then realizing that there are people way smarter than me who are still broke, who are still poor, who are still miserable, and realizing intelligence is not one bit a factor in success. And I know that's an extreme statement to make, but I realize that intelligence is almost more harmful than helpful if that's all you have.
One thing that I think is a huge takeaway that I've learned from you, because I tend to be a little bit prideful and not willing to, maybe find those answers from someone else. I've kind of, a lot of times just been like, well, I'll figure it out. I'm smart enough. I don't need to ask. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Who cares, right? Like, I'll figure it out. But there's been so many times where you've called me or whatever and said, hey, I just want to know, did I do that the way you were hoping I would do it? Or is there a way I could have done it different? Or, just tell me if I'm not following your process the right way or whatever. So you've shown a lot of curiosity, which I think is my main takeaway from my relationship with you and my call today is how can I be more curious? And then also, how can I give back more? And I think you just ask a lot of good questions, but you're also very, very confident, right? And so I think that helps a ton within your mentorship with others, is helping them be curious about what they're doing, even if they don't naturally know how to be curious themselves, right? You wouldn't be where you're at if you didn't have an extreme amount of curiosity about how the world works, how money works, how multifamily works, so on and so forth.
Well, Matt, it's interesting. Like, I don't consider myself to be a real estate investor.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, I'm way closer to China, where I'm just a thief of intellectual property, in the sense that one day I had this wake-up call with that 16-plex where I realized, yes, even statistically, I'm way smarter than most people are, right?
Yeah.
And then realizing that there are people way smarter than me who are still broke, who are still poor, who are still miserable, and realizing intelligence is not one bit a factor in success. And I know that's an extreme statement to make, but I realize that intelligence is almost more harmful than helpful if that's all you have. Mm-hmm. Wisdom is pound for pound way more valuable to making money, to being happy, right? To actually doing anything than intelligence is. And as soon as I realized that the easiest way for me to be happy, to get where I want to go, to be successful, was to stop being such an asshole and to start just asking people. Like, if I say, oh, I want to buy a building, instead of barreling through those walls head first, if I just stopped and say, hey, Matt, there's this house I'm looking at buying. What do you think about that? And then actually just following that advice, realizing that the only use for my intelligence, the only decision that I need to make individually, and albeit the most important decision, is who I'm going to ask for that advice from.
Yeah.
And then knowing that I'm going to follow it, that's what's made me a multimillionaire.
Dude, that right there is the whole call, and you said it so well. Ray Dalio, if you guys don't watch or listen to some of his stuff, he has an amazing book called Principles, and he talks about this concept, your exact concept. When you're searching for advice, ask and seek advice from the most believable person. Not that the most truthful person, but the most credible, believable person for the problem you're trying to solve that's already solved that problem, right? And be humble enough to accept their advice. And then, you made it sound so simple, right? And then just do what they tell you you're going to do, right? And follow the script and get over yourself and learn along the way. That is so powerful.